Over the years, Afrobeats, which is a fusion of traditional African rhythm with jazz and soul, has evolved from being just a sound from Africa into a different movement that shows no sign of fading anytime soon. So much so, every artist both internationally and locally are eager to be part of this revolutionary movement.
Emergency, emergency, you never see me coming through.
Today on MTV Base Special, we are discussing a very important topic: Afrobeats versus Afrobeats. What exactly is Afrobeat? How did this musical genre impose its style so rapidly? Where does it come from? Who are its founders? And most importantly, what does the new wave of the music mean for the culture of the music industry?
We had a term that existed before Afrobeats. It was called Naija Pop.
And to help us dissect and understand this better, we have assembled some of Naija's finest stars in the music business. This is MTV Base Special Musicology. But first, let's meet our panelists for today. First up, we have one of Naija's foremost radio personality. His vast experience in the media industry more than qualifies him to be on this panel. He is Olisa Adibua. Also, we have multi-talented singer, songwriter, and performer. She is Afropop and everything music. She is the one and only Omawumi Yusuf. He is one of Nigeria's finest DJ, record producer, and also recording artist. His career as a DJ has taken him far and wide. He is DJ Xclusive. Also on our panel is a Nigerian veteran artist, the lead singer of the music band Bantu. He is a man of many insights. He is Ade Bantu. Then we have the super duper talented singer, songwriter, and rapper. He's known for his very own unique style of music. He is Black Magic.
The music here is so rich and so vibrant, but I think it's their own way of making it easy to understand. But we as Africans should not promote that. We should try and educate them.
What's up, beautiful people, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to MTV Base Musicology. My name is Ehiz. This is the show where we talk about everything music. I'm talking about the ins and the outs. You understand? So if you're a student of music like myself, you definitely love this show. Joining me today are people that have, in a way, joined in making Nigerian music great. And not just Nigerian music, I'm talking about African music as well. Quick recognition from my right to my left, we have the great Ade Bantu.
Thanks for having me, man. All good.
Oli Ole!
Good to be here.
What's going on, sir? You okay?
It's good.
I tell you. All my wonders in the building.
Hey, me.
Yeah, we'll turn you to the Avengers after this, alright? We got DJ Xclusive. What's up, brother? You good?
All good.
And of course, EJ Black Magic. Wagwan. This is good.
And that's good.
And that's good. Alright, so welcome to the show. Boys and girls at home, you can definitely join in online. Twitter is at MTV Base West. And make sure you use the hashtag MTV Base Musicology. Alright, so today we are talking about something that a lot of people have been back and forth about. So we're talking about Afrobeats versus Afrobeats. That is Afrobeats without an S, then Afrobeats with an S. So I think we should just start with Ade Bantu. To you, what does Afrobeats with an S mean?
Afrobeats with an S is a very insulting terminology.
Okay.
He just went in.
Welcome.
He just went in.
It's just like, it's something I feel like some white person invented, like world music, you know, where you try to like bundle all kinds of cultures together and call it one, you know. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so how about Afrobeat now, without the S?
Afrobeat is a music form that was invented by the great Fela Kuti. It's orchestrated music. You have to at least be a 12, 13, 14-piece band and it's very intricate, you know. It's based on Yoruba music and then it's layered around funk, jazz, high life, and other elements as well.
Afrobeat is singular, it's one beat. Afrobeat is plural, so here it is now, singular and plural. Afrobeat, you are beating one beat. Afrobeat, you are beating plenty beats.
Can I ask you now, who do you think coined the word Afrobeats with the S?
I think probably maybe some Africans living in Europe, maybe America, decided that to make it easier to sell it,
To explain.
explain it to the audience there, and also to sell it to the owners of media there, how to put it in a compartment, which I think, like Ade said, is very wrong. because in Europe and America you have soul, you have R&B, you have hip hop, you have jazz, you have funk, you have calypso, you have reggae, you have classical music, you have choral music, you have baroque chamber music. I mean, I could go on forever. So, but why is it when it comes to Africa, we have to put it in a compartment, we have to categorize it? We have so much music out here, you know. We got Fuji, we got Juju, we got High Life, we got Bango, we got Balanga, we got Shiki, we got. I mean, the music here is so rich and so vibrant. But I think it's their own way of making it easy to understand. But we as Africans should not promote that. We should try and educate them and explain to them that there's so much to us, so much more to us than what they're doing.
All the party way then they do for Lagos City. Now there where you go find the money receipt. She know they carry last yo, she know they greedy.
Omawumi, as an artist, you sing like R&B, soul music, put together.
But I don't really like to box myself in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But would you feel offended if somebody called you an Afrobeats artist?
Well, offended is too strong a word. I probably, like Olisa said, I probably just, try to explain to you that, well, there's so many facets to it. You can't just, box me there. And besides, I love Afrobeat. I would be honored if that's without the S, though.
Okay.
I would be honored to be identified as an Afrobeat artist, but all my songs are not Afrobeat. You understand? So I would definitely try to correct you, but offended is too strong a word.
DJ, how about you? You gave an example of how you were working with a producer, and he said, "Oh, we should give you some Afrobeats." But
he was like, "Oh, we're working on some idea, and I was going for more hip hop or whatever." He's like, this thing, it go jig pass with, Afrobeats, and I'm like, okay, I can see the relation. Oh, mad, and then he starts doing this thing, and I'm looking, I'm like, I thought he said like, Afrobeats. He's like, yeah, this is Afrobeat, and I didn't know where to start explaining. I didn't know if I wanted to. I didn't know if I wanted to continue with the session or just try and educate him on that. But I was like, okay. I was aware of his age. It just told me a lot about him, and I was like, oh, that's a different conversation. But it was pretty annoying, very annoying.
All right, so Xclusive as a DJ, you get a gig. You're like in the UK, and they say, oh, DJ Xclusive is here. It's an Afrobeats night. Does that box you?
I mean, as a DJ, I'm trying to make my money, man. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. But the truth is, I don't want to use the word "it's disrespectful." Why? Because you have to understand. Like, I'm going to use me as an example. I started playing Nigerian music in 2004-05, and at the time, this was in the UK. Everyone called it Afrobeat. So I grew up in that world that it was Afrobeats. Now, coming back to Nigeria, I realized it's not Afrobeats. So what I'm trying to say is I think we can't just say it's disrespect, because I think people don't even know. I think we need to educate them, like what you guys have been saying. I don't think people in the UK, in America, or Ireland, whatever, I don't think they actually know there's a difference. We all know, yes, Fela is the one that invented Afrobeats. I think this new age now, we are the ones inventing Afrobeats. Okay. So I think it's now left to us to now educate people once again the difference between the two. Because I think the new cats now, this is people from Ghana, everybody wants to be one. You know what I mean? People from Ghana, people from Cameroon, everyone is trying to be one Africa. So we're trying to tag, and let's be honest, Nigerian music kind of is for Africa.
Yeah.
So we're trying to tag it
under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's not nice because we're trying to push the Nigeria on our own. But I think that's what's happening.
But do you think there's a...
Sorry, I think we need to focus on a major problem here. The fact that we had a term that existed before Afrobeats.
Yeah.
It was called Naija Pop. But what happens in an environment where you don't have structure, where you don't have management that educates the artist, that says, okay, it's good to gain recognition in the West. It's good that the BBC is inviting you for an interview, but you have to correct certain terminologies, We called it Naija Pop. How come all of a sudden somebody in the West changed the whole dynamics?
Who changed
And that's what always happens. We never own it. And I think we still have to engage the West and tell them that there was a terminology. How about going back to that, and making them also understand the whole of Africa isn't just one sound. Even Lagos itself is very complex. The urban African speaks 3-4 languages. We're fluent in so many cultures. They have to come to the table and we dictate the terms, you know? So we have to be very, very particular here, or else we lose our identity.
So if they ask you, like, what genre of music would you want to put Nigerian music on?
You just call it Nigerian music.
Nigerian.
It's Nigerian music. And hopefully we're going to have some new young kids coming through who are going to embrace Juju music before it dies out. All right? We don't want that.
They have a couple of
guys coming through
already,
because we know that King Sunny Ade has been doing it, Ebenezer Obey has been doing it for so long, you know. So we need to embrace that knowledge that these forms of music exist. It's all about us now being the ones who are in charge of certain things, certain platforms, to tell people, okay, look, you're a young guy, you don't know what you're playing. This is what you're playing, by the way. Like Terry Akbala now. Okay. What's Terry Akbala? He's playing Akbala music.
Fine girls, they go, they follow me. Farabale, go my love, me. Pretty girls and fine boys, they feeling me. Fine girls, they go, they follow me.
Speaking of sound and sticking to sound, you're a great example, DJ.
Yeah.
Because you have people know you for your particular sound. So does it hurt you when they say, oh, Afrobeats were doing the same thing or something like that?
It hurt. I mean, it has to hurt. Man. It's just like, I mean, it's like, okay, first of all, there's the age of the purist, the high life, the Afrobeat. This is the next age. Then there's the fusion, you know. So all these fusions have to also take into, you know, account the original forms that influence what I'm listening to, or I'm influenced by a lot of hip hop and a lot of Fela, you know, and a lot of, you know, blues also. I think it's important to identify which music you play, because when it comes to something like even awards,
they don't know where to put you.
No, so now you now see people shifting genres just to make an award. Like, oh, you know, we have to put Black Magic in this, so we don't know where to put it, so we'll call it alternative. I'm like,
oh, that's another talk.
You know. So I mean, like, it's almost
with
around the same.
International, they call it best international award.
You know,
they don't put anything. You know,
they just keep it. So, but I mean, it's understandable because an award show is also based on a certain level of popularity or whatever. You know, so they have the right to, you know, grade or categorize the way they want, but you have to also specify. Like when I'm putting my music out, it tells me what kind of music is it. What should we call it? You know, what does it sound like? What the influences? You know, just to kind of guide people in that same space. So anybody who likes Afrobeat, who likes soul music, who likes hip hop, will find something in Black Magic that they really like. You know, and it goes for other artists like that also. You know, so I think it's really important for us to identify. If you're talking about classification and saying, oh, Afrobeat or Afrobeat, then there's no Afrobeats. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about, oh, that thing that they do, I don't even think it should even be a thing. Why should, not all music that comes from Jamaica is reggae. You know, so it would be very ignorant. So as much as, yes, if you are a reporter, and that's why I said I would be very offended if anybody, you know, associated with music, you know, said something like Afrobeats. That's ignorance on your part. That's you're a journalist, so it's your job to know. Because you are the voice of, you know, the people. So,
and that's good.
I like that.
I think we should try and sell the idea of Afro pop for the mainstream people. Right? People like Wizkid, Davido, Olamide, we can sell as Afro pop. Then the other people like Black Magic, we can say Afro jazz fusion or Afro funk or whatever it is, or Afro high life. But Afro pop should be the mainstream element of what the popular people are doing. Because in England, for instance, there's a pop music section where you have the popular side, but then there's also the jazz, there's also the soul, there's also the funk, there's trance, there's trip hop, there's hip hop, there's all kinds of things going on. So I think we should try and sell that idea and try and help the rest of the world understand what we do and who we are, and let them follow that narrative. It's very important.
I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm in a classroom already. So boys and girls, remember you can tweet at us at MTV Base West using the hashtag MTV Base Musicology. Now we gotta go on a quick break. When we come back, the toss still goes on. Afrobeats versus Afrobeats.
Afrobeat, is where we kind of, the world has now fused in a lot of sound into it, like the Europe and the American sound, and and they generally see this unique sound that is peculiar to Nigeria. Now they see it as, and they call it Afrobeats, but more or less like they've been able to fuse like pop, hip hop, other genres into it, so because it still has that original, African Afrobeat sound. So I think they just tend to call it Afrobeats, so the S in it is more or less like the fusion, more like, it's something beyond the Afrobeat in itself. So it's a fusion of other sound and other genres, together with the original Afrobeat sound. I think that's what it means to me.
Welcome back to the show. It is MTV Base Musicology. Hope you guys are tuned in and enjoying this class, this session. Because as I did, I'll be a teacher and I'll be a student at the same time. All right, so back to the lecture at hand. Next up, evolution of Afrobeat. Afrobeats. It's a fella. He did it, took his time. He coined it out, he made it, he sacrificed a couple of things, you know what I mean? It became like a way of life for Fela. Do you think, okay, let me ask you, do you think Afrobeat is still kind of like in its purest form now in 2018?
Well, if you're judging by popular music or popular musicians that do Afrobeat, I would say, well, it's been watered down is too strong. But I always like sitting on the fence. I would say it's more like a fusion now, like it resembles Afrobeat. You understand? No, they looks alike. You understand? So that's what I think it is. But there are some people like Ade Bantu now that and my humble self. That decide, because I don't mean to market myself, but I covered one of Fela's song in my last album, and I had to go to South Africa to record the horns, and I had like over 50 hornsmen on 139 channels, because I wanted to, if I'm going to do this, you may as well just do it right. Do you understand? So yeah, like people like us that move with like 15 or 16 man bands, just to like do that. Yes, we haven't watered it down, or we haven't fused it, or they can say it resemble. But it resemble.
Okay, back to you, sir. On break, we talked about Afrobeats and live music being the same thing. You can't do Afrobeats and not do live music. And lately, everybody knows not a lot of people perform live music. No, it's true. Not a lot of people is DJ Track One.
There are a lot of people that.
Yeah, I know there are reasons for that. But when it comes to Afrobeats, can you separate?
As an Afrobeat artist, you have to understand the rudiments of music, and it's orchestrated. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you are the one. Fela was a genius like Prince, someone that plays multiple instruments, but you don't have to. You can collaborate with people. Ultimately, it's trying to get the big band sound. Mm-hmm. But I think what is important also to mention is, towards his latter years, Fela did not call his music Afrobeat. He called it classical African music. So he was constantly reinventing himself. So Afrobeat, when it was created in the 70s, was a reaction to what was happening globally and in terms of the black experience. It's James Brown, it is black politics and what have you not, and Fela bringing it back home and saying, okay, how can I create my own identity with what I have experienced in America and what's going on in the UK and in the Caribbean? So he comes up with this idea of Afrobeat, which is a fusion. So if you fast forward 2018, the bands in Chile, in Germany, in Japan, inspired by Fela, they know the legacy, but I think it's important to push it because it's all about fusion. And that's the origin of the idea. So it has to have its blues inflections, it has to experiment with hip hop, with dancehall, and what have you not. So Afrobeat cannot be stagnant, and it mustn't be. And it's not a Kuti thing anymore. Yeah. Because what you need to understand is the beat, the backbone, was also invented by Tony Allen. So Fela never composed for Tony Allen. So with that, there's a complete different dynamics,
Real talk.
So you have to understand that it's a collaborative thing, and Africans in general, we're about collaborations, It's not about one single person being the star and know it all, So I think that idea is what we need to connect to.
And we're going to also...
There's so many things you're saying, I don't
You got your vote, right?
I'm voting, man.
we got to, following what Ade said, we've got to keep in mind that the first Afrobeat song was recorded by Chris Agilo, not even Fela Kuti. All right? So Fela, now, with the music, our music, African music traveled through slavery. Those slaves, I mean, rhythm and blues, all that stuff, the soul music. So what Fela did, as I did, was bring it back home and fuse it with what we have here to make it stronger. And the difference between the music now and then is that Fela had a message. The music wasn't music for the sake of music. It was music to give the black mass an identity. This is ours. This is our voice. At a time when it was evolving in the 60s, there was a lot of things going on in the 70s. There was a lot of African emancipation with colonialism dying in Africa. Then in the 70s, there was more resurgence of the black man and the black female. So Fela was trying to create that our own. Well, let Nigeria have a slice of this. Let's be a part of this new wave that's sweeping across Africa, and that's what he did with the music. It's intricate, but it's also beautiful. It's what we have and what we own. And like my brother said, it's gone beyond the Kuti family or Femi or Sheon. It's now a global phenomenon. But what we have to now do is try and encourage a new generation of Nigerian artists to really look into it and see what a legacy they have that's so rich that they can embrace. I want to see a young guy under 25, under 20, playing with a band. And most of the guys now are like Ade, they've been there for 10, 20 years. But we want to influence younger people to come in on it. Not just sit in the studio with a producer and sample. No, it's not DJ track 2.
Yeah, it's easier that way.
Yeah.
It's more convenient.
It's easier that way.
But honest, with Fela's Afrobeats now, like you said, he had a message.
Yeah.
You understand? He had a political view, he had a social view on so many things. Do you think they've watered that down now with the Afrobeats that little boys are making now? Can you put that next to each other, that Afrobeat and what we have now?
It's a reflection of the realities on ground. I mean, nobody.
It's what it is.
No, imagine when you're an artist, it takes you 6-7 million to break a single now.
Yeah.
Or more. And then imagine you trying to recoup your investment. You're not gonna walk or talk against the powers that be. You're not gonna have a political song because you're not gonna get an endorsement deal. They're not gonna play you on radio, and so on and so forth. So it's a legacy also of military dictatorship because we self-censor ourselves, and very few people who are privileged, who have created a platform for themselves where they are famous enough to actually be vocal, they've compromised themselves. So when you have a situation where 90 to 95% of Nigerian pop artists are in bed with politicians and political parties, you have a problem. So they're not going to reflect. They'll be popping champagne and then be in absolute denial.
Can you name them, please?
And that's exactly why I said Fela sacrificed so many things, because a lot of people don't know, but because of the love he had and the street cred he had, people think he was poor. He was never poor. So for you to be speaking at the government, like he said, everybody else playing high life, playing at this politician's wedding, this one's party, that's where they feed from. But Fela,
no, but he didn't always play. As much as he played, he was being the activist in his music and being the advocate. He didn't always play those type of music. There were some times that he would do this pop thing. Fela was a very rotten man. You understand? So he can just come. The same things that they are singing about right now, bomb and breast. There's some days he will just go, okay, I'm off this now. I want to talk about the features of the female anatomy and how to visit it. Do you understand? So
like when you want from back.
But I think that's also what being an artist is about. Right? You can be a musician, being in the business, no doubt. But when you're an artist, you speak your truth. You speak your and as soon as Fela got that conviction to say, I want to fight for my people and speak, because that's a very big sacrifice. The fact that he was rich didn't mean that he wasn't. They were beating him physically, really going to jail and coming back and singing again. For who? For the betterment of who? So he sacrificed a lot. And I tell, sometimes I'm being religious, and I tell some of my friends, do you know, the only person that I know that did anything like Jesus is Fela. How can you say that? Yeah, because they're looking at it from the moral, how he was a woman. But I'm like, really sure, what did Jesus, or what does Christianity say Jesus came to do for us?
Sacrifice himself.
He sacrificed himself. No.
Pray for black for you.
But the reality, like you just said, is now in this time, people just want to make money. Nobody's focused on trying to sell a message or fight for the people.
Not everybody.
Not everybody. But do you think that's the right thing though?
No, it's not the right thing, but it's just what is going on right now.
No, but we got to give credit to people. I mean, like songs like Techno's Rara, for instance.
Yes, I was just going to say
there's
that.
some songs, there's some artists who make social commentary of what's going on in their own time. And we've got to give them credit for that.
Forget about the big things, say make we talk about the small things, forget about the big things, say make we talk about the small things,
It's not a popular thing. It doesn't, but also you're preaching to a very short attention span audience who just want to shayo and dance, bend down low and dance and get down and shackle and so it's a hard thing. So the artist is in a difficult place. They want their career to progress, but they don't want to be seen to be, okay, if I do too much this, I'm gonna lose my audience. So let me give them the party song. Once in a while I'll drop something that might wake them up. Like thousands, this is Nigeria. That was great. We would love that. We need more of that.
This is Nigeria. Never any recession. When looters and killers and stealers are still contesting election. Politicians with thieves and billion, you know they go prison.
But he wouldn't do more of that.
Because of the backlash he got.
Well, yes, and because did he, in terms of money, finance now, is he making money from that?
Maybe because he performs as song as it shows.
And there was
but let me just add something here. I think pop, you expect too much from a pop artist to be vocal, socially conscious. That's not what pop artists are supposed to do. What is important is striking the right balance. There are alternative acts out there that are political. They're in their 20s. Singer-songwriters that are commenting on things from depression to NEPA issues or what have you not, but they don't get airplay. We have formatted radio, formatted TV.
But sorry, don't you think that's because of the listeners? The listeners
the listeners have no say in
this. If you talk about radio, you're concerned about your ratings. The people rather hear, let's just say, a whiskey, for example, than, no disrespect, but let's say Johnny Drew, for example. They rather want to hear a whiskey than a Johnny Drew. And we know a Johnny Drew, for example, makes good music.
But here's the thing. There's commercial radio and there's state radio.
I think that's in Nigeria, why we just have one.
But
in Nigeria we have different genres of radio.
We're not also demanding anything from our governments, because this comes back to knowing what our rights are. Because when it comes to public radio, that's why you pay tax. Like in Germany, in the UK, that's the BBC model. It's exactly that. You have a Jules Holland show where they introduce you to non-pop artists. It's a live show watched by millions of people. Nigerians are sophisticated. I find it insulting when they say the audience only wants to hear one particular sound. We grew up with our parents listening to country music, Afrobeat, and Bob Dylan. Your uncle will come with hip hop, another uncle will come with reggae. And it was very natural. But somehow along the way, 2018, we are all formatted. We just watch one particular genre of films, it's Nollywood, Nigerian pop. What we need now is for people to just take a bit of a backseat and maybe learn an instrument, just have a bit of an idea of what's going on. You don't necessarily have to become the most proficient with it, but just have an idea as a performer. Because that would also inform what you do on stage, because now the whole world is watching. And I'm very, very scared for Nigerian or African pop music, because remember what happened to dancehall in Jamaica. It was big. Shabba Ranks, Mad Cobra, all of them were getting signings. And then when they didn't deliver the goods, especially in the touring circuit, you start dropping them. So when a Chris Brown says, hey, you know what, you can do the opening act, and then they do a tour, and then people are like, that act is not really well, he's not prepared, you're not going to call them back. And they are actually the gatekeepers, and that's why we need structure. We need management. We need people who are totally dedicated to sound. We need band leaders that write for these people. Beyonce's team, I mean, look at it. Everybody wants to be Beyonce. There are 100 people working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
She has a musical director
More than 1,000
that sits down there with a massive band, and they're always coming up with new ideas, sampling Fela for this concert, taking some salsa here. You know, we need to be a bit more ambitious. You know, so we're global players now. We're not like local champions anymore. You know,
We global now.
Yeah.
We global now.
No.
On that note, we gotta go on another quick break, guys. We'll be right back.
Difference between Afrobeats and Afrobeats, that's one hell of a question, I'm sorry to say, but I just feel like it's the same thing at the end of the day, you know. I would just say the food, to me, the definition of Afrobeats is just basically just putting in our culture into music. That's what just differentiates us. The fact that, you know, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of instruments, you know, I'm talking about from the conga to the, you know, to all the traditional instruments, you know. That's what makes it Afrobeats at the end of the day. And the fact that you can always rock to it, dance to it. That's my own definition of Afrobeats.
Definitely, I think there's a difference between Afrobeat and Afrobeats. Afrobeat without the S is the original sound as coined by the great, the legendary Fela Kuti himself. And there's some elements of that particular sound that distinguish it from Afrobeats with the S. So the drum pattern, and then some specific instruments like the brass, you know, trumpets, sax. These are, you know, the major elements, the bass guitar, you know, that distinguish original Afrobeat from Afrobeats with an S. Well, Afrobeats with an S now has been used as a general term to describe popular African music. So music coming from this side of the world that is pop music. That, I think, is what is Afrobeats with the S.
Welcome back to MTV Base Musicology. I hope you guys have learned a lot, because today, trust me, my mind has definitely been blown. I didn't bring my notes, but I've been making notes in my head, so when I get home, I'll study some more. All right, so I got a question for you, EJ. Do you think Afrobeat without an S is a dying breed right now?
I don't think it is. I think it's the basis for the new set of individuals to fuse from. It's like an original thing that we have, you know, created by, just like everybody. I'm influenced by hip hop music, came from, you know, America, you know, influenced by blues, you know, country music, all of that. But now we also have, I had the opportunity of being around at the time when Afrobeat was created, so I have that as an influence also. So I don't think it will ever die. I think it will always be there forever. But people will just fuse different things. It's an original and it's our own. It's one of the few things that we have that nobody can steal, you know, because there's so much behind it that people don't. Even talking about Afrobeat, people don't know that Fela invented something. He has something called the infinity groove. I don't know if any of you, if you Wikipedia him. Now, infinity groove is the ability to play. He can play 3 hours straight without ever stopping, but this music keeps changing.
There you go.
You know, so that in itself is recorded and is documented, but people don't know that. So I don't think it will die ever.
If you put the S to it now, do you think Afrobeat is a unifying factor that is going to bring Africa together?
No. It's a lie. The Afrobeat with the S is a lie.
It's a plural.
I don't co-sign it. It's a lie.
Okay.
It's a lie. It's not. I mean, there was soul music and there's neo soul. I can understand that, but I think the S, I don't know. It doesn't mean the same thing.
Well, how about you? Do you think Afrobeats, them saying, okay, Afrobeats, Africa is one, will bring us together?
No, it doesn't even bring Nigeria together. It doesn't even cross the border. So I think it's it will be there. There are people who will be using it, but we will, on my own side of the fence, we will try as much as possible to kill that. I've never said an Afrobeat song on the radio or on TV to anybody. You know, I've said Afrobeat. I know Afrobeat music because I've been witness to its, development and its growth and everything. But I don't think Afrobeats. Nah. I think after a while, people will start seeing different genres of Nigerian music emerging. I mean, you have the likes of Adekunle Gold just did a big concert in the UK.
ariwo kọ́ ni music yo. Empty barrel ló máa ń pariwo. Ariwo kọ́ ni music yo.
And then you have other artists coming through who are not necessarily mainstream. So I think the more the international market sees different varieties of our music, you know, that's when they're not gonna appreciate. I mean, how do you can't put Angelique Kidjo as Afrobeats.
No.
It's not possible. You know, you can't put Yusu Ndu as Afrobeats. So why would you want to put a Wizkid or an Olamide as that? So I think it will come to a point whereby people will now start identifying different sections of what we all have to offer, you know. And in terms of Afrobeat, I think it has a long life, because it's the way you see. People thought hip hop would die after like 10, 20 years.
Okay.
But look at it now. There's hip hop that some people hate, you know. They call it the mumble rap. Yeah. But then there's Kendrick Lamar, there's J. Cole, there's Jay-Z. So if you're a purist, you go with your J. Cole, your Kendrick Lamar, and your Jay-Z. If you like that, you know, go with that. Go with the Migos side, or whichever side you want to go. So the same with Afrobeat. There'll be those who love that Fela purist style, then those who are gonna evolve, you know. Yeah. And I love Fela Kuti's brand of Afrobeat. I love Ade Bantu's brand of Afrobeat. It's different. I've seen him live. Yeah. I've seen both of them live, and they're fantastic. You know, so it depends on what, but they will survive definitely.
Do you think Afrobeat has made our sound acceptable to the international market?
No.
You don't?
Fela was playing festivals all over the world, you know, back in the 70s and 80s. And so Fela Kuti has played Glastonbury, he's played the Hollywood Bowl, he's played everywhere. Ade Bantu has played all over the world. Fela Kuti, as we speak now, is all over the world. So, I mean, maybe it's made it more popular, but not necessarily acceptable. Because if you go to a Fela Kuti concert, you see predominantly Caucasians there, you know? And so obviously a certain group of foreigners love the music, have accepted it. You know, the same way when you come to Shrine in Lagos, you see a lot of foreigners have heard of the Shrine, and when they come to Lagos, that's the first place they want to go. You know, so I think it made Afrobeats has made it more popular, but Afrobeat was always there and had always traveled, and I believe it will survive longer. The same way that King Sunny Ade still plays concerts all over the world. You know, I don't think anyone has more bookings than him. Or more bookings of Fela Kuti or Fela Kuti, you know?
The Xclusive, you wanna?
I agree with that. I think definitely it will be there for a long time. Has it made our music more acceptable? I don't agree it has made our music more acceptable. First of all, I don't even think they know what our music is. I think they're really confused about our music. Because I remember, you know, when One Dance came out,
yes.
people said that's an Afrobeat song. I couldn't understand. Like I was really baffled by that.
They called it an Afrobeat song because an African
was on it. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely agree with what he said there. I think the music will last, and I think what you have now is a lot of us young people now are getting elements from it. So if you look at Joe Legba, Wizkid, if you look at Burna Boy's Soke, even Soke, you know, you see elements. Even Black Magic as well. If you listen to his music, you hear elements from it. So I think it will be there for a very long time. But in terms of the international people bringing everyone as an no, I don't.
What if we wake up to? Okay, you want to add something to that?
I think we should also give these kids doing pop music across Africa a bit of credit here, because what they've been able to do is make Africa cool. Because for a long time, kids in the diaspora, like second and third generation Nigerians, they would more readily be willing to identify as Jamaican or identify as African American, but never as African, you know, because it wasn't cool. But now it is cool.
You make me sing, I know. You make me sing, I know. Yeah, you got the teen, I know. You got the body, I know.
So what is the future of live for Afrobeats?
Future is bright for Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Afrobeats, the future is bright too. But it's how you look at it. Afrobeats, you bring out a song, the shelf life, 3 months.
2 weeks.
By 3 months, and I'm being very generous here.
Very generous, yeah.
3 months, you're hot on TV, you're hot on radio, hot on social media, everyone's, all kinds of people are dancing to your song and posting up the clips. 3 months it's forgotten, on to the next one. It's that short attention span, it's the world we live in now. So yeah, if the song is really good, maybe another 2 years time, Xclusive might add it to his list and play it at a party, you know? But a good Afrobeat song is forever. That's the difference. They both can survive, and they both will survive, you know? But it's a question of which you prefer. Do I write, am I a purist? I like Afrobeat. Do I like Afrobeats? You can be in the middle and enjoy both of them, you know? So it's up to you. But I think both have the space and they will grow.
They both need each other. I think the problem, what we also have to look at is the fact that a lot of older artists have been very snobbish, you know, and they haven't acted as mentors. So to teach, you know, and to groom the next generation, and there's no platforms out there, you know. We're very self-centered, and it's also part of that big band culture from Fela's era as well. There was the band leader, you know, and then the band boys who are faceless, you know. But in 2018, we don't need that anymore. We have to create platforms. That's why we created Afropolitan Vibes. We engage Afrobeats artists, we engage alternative acts, established acts, and we make all of them perform live, you know. We inspire each other, you know.
Now, to the millennials that want to go into Afrobeats, what are the S? What would you want to tell them first, the first couple of steps?
The first thing is to educate yourself. Make sure that you're not going left, because there are some people who are hardcore Afrobeat fans that are always listening, and if you get it right, you understand, you just cross from one point into like this point of respect, like, okay. So my advice to you is that, you know, educate yourself. Make sure that you are in the right space to be able to put out the music the way it should. Yes, stricto sensu, it's always ideal to go with the, you know, like live, how you call it, orchestra. I've been worried girls, so they go sometimes. Orchestral music, you know, which is the ideal thing to do. But because times are changing, yes, of course, you know, you can welcome 1 or 2 fusions here. But what makes you a great Afrobeat artist is the ability to merge all of this together, and everything comes out sounding like $1 million. And the real tone of your voice, as opposed to 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I decided to stop putting effects on my voice. I said, don't put anything again. Leave it like this. This is how I want it. Because it's the real tone of your voice. When Fela is singing, it's the real tone of his voice that he uses to sing. He doesn't doctor anything. So when you are hearing it, you can relate. It's like what EJ said. There's a certain truth that comes with, you know, the art. The art in itself, there's an honesty behind it. It's like seeing a painting. When you see it, it exudes some kind of emotion from you because of the honesty of what you are saying. That's how Afrobeat is. And if you're not in that space, after some time, it will fizzle out and it will show. So you have to educate yourself. You have to immerse yourself in the music so that you can put it out as honesty and as real as possible.
Again,
I totally enjoyed that.
Action.
Epic.
All right, so you got anything to say to the millennials before we go?
Work hard.
Okay.
If you have a chance to learn an instrument, please do. You know, don't just think about the instant karma. You know, do the grind. And also, if we need to have more schools in Nigeria with real instruments, we need to have music teachers, we need to have, I mean, this is not just for the government, you know, because every time we say government, no, the private sector too. If you know that you're out there and then you have ability to fund a particular school, maybe it's your, you know, you're an old boy of a school, you want to fund it, buy some instruments for the school, pay for a music teacher to come in, you know, every week to teach them. It's very important because we've lost that a lot. We need to get that grounding back. People learning instruments, people learning how to sing as well. It's very important because without it, it will just fizzle out, it will die. So I hope it does happen.
All right, man. Ade Bantu, anything for the international who believe Afrobeats? You want to tell them anything?
To the internationals, well, you know what? We are already ahead of you guys, and we're not going to slow down because ultimately we are complex beings, and there's nothing like the African. So either you want to connect to what we're doing or you'll be left behind. Reality.
Plain simple.
Savage.
You want to back that up?
It's a savage Bantu.
Oh my God.
Bantu savage.
He just broke the table.
I mean, in a nutshell, not to take your time, I think obviously you guys need to know the difference between Afrobeats and Afrobeat. It would be nice to have a structure. It would be nice to have someone to educate. Even me myself being here, I'm not going to lie, I've been educated as well today. My message to everyone out there is just keep doing you, break boundaries, and keep it real. Don't lie to yourself. I always tell people, you lying to yourself is the first form of failure. So don't lie to yourself. I tried to back him up, but I don't think my speech
He didn't know what he said.
EJ? What can I say? Africa is not a country. Afrobeats is not all the music that comes from Africa. There are different genres, and if you dig in a little deeper, I'm sure you find it. Afrobeats is a genre that was created by the great Fela Kuti, and that's the difference. Check out our music. There's a lot of great music in Africa. Just look for it. What more can I say?
We have numbers on our side.
Yeah.
Man. Numbers of people coming through, because I see it every day. For every 30 artists that are on top now, every week they're like 3,000 trying to get there.
Yeah.
And then not just numbers, the numbers that really matter, they're buying public. We have that too. So we can't do this.
All right, people, that's the end of the show. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show and, of course, learned something, because I have, starting from Ade Bantu right there to Olisa, Omawumi, of course, Xclusive, and EJ. They definitely have put something in my brain. I know the difference between Afrobeats and, of course, Afrobeat. And I hope you at home have definitely learned something. Remember, you can keep up with the conversation on social media, on Twitter at MTV Base West, using the hashtag MTV Base Musicology. Now we got to go. Thank you very much for coming through. Thank you very much for dropping them dimes and the savage and the la. It's all good. I had fun. So peace and love, musicology. Yeah.
I had absolute fun today. It was beautiful. Just sitting down and listening, learning, and also sharing from my experience as a musician. And it's beautiful to just have this kind of sessions. And I hope MTV does more of it.
MTV, well done. Musicology is a great idea. I love it. I hope that at least my own small knowledge was, what the little bit I know, the little bit I understand, I'll be able to, educate, entertain, enlighten, impart some knowledge to people out there.